Why is that not acceptable? That's what
Why is that not acceptable?
Yeah.
Because that's the chidush of the Torah. That's the chidush of the Torah.
Yeah, but they don't that. It's not a necessary requirement for another culture. Why?
I think it's a necessary requirement for humanity.
It's a necessary requirement for the idea that we can change the past. That there's something that
we're not stuck.
I understand that
we're not stuck.
I get that that's a Jewish thing, but that's not a necessary requirement
for... That's something that all of mankind has to come to.
But it's a very good question. But
it's not a necessity for, I understand if they come to it on their own, but it's not a necessity for us to change that.
It's something we have to bring to the world. The concept of Tshuva is a concept that we have to give mankind.
And where does it come from? It comes from the idea that we really are creators. We really do have free will. That we can really change things that are. But there is a problem. Right? There are things that we can't change. Things that we can't change. You're saying that should be the only that's the way it should be. That these people have no way.
If that's the way it is, who are we to come in and change it if it's not something that we're required by our God to change?
I'll tell you what, because the idea that we're stuck, and we're stuck in nature, it's just cyclical, is idolatry. The idea that I can't do anything to correct.
Escape. The God of Israel manifests in many different ways in this world. Sometimes with the attribute of din, sometimes with the attribute of chesed, like love, din. What I understand from your tribe is that they experience din more, in other words, strict judgment, fear, yirah. That's what I'm gathering from what you're saying, is that they are on that side of the experience of life. There's this mungu. Mungu is a fearful being, and we have to satisfy him because he can take everything. He's unforgiving, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu comes to, and it can be expressed through din, and there is an expression of din, but a kosher expression of din, and an expression of chesed. But what our job is to bring peoples to access what is not chesed and not din, which is rachamim. What is rachamim? It's the harmony and the truth of both chesed and din. There's truth in din, there's truth in chesed. Christianity brought only chesed, love. Yeah, just say Jesus saves and you're saved, right? It's the exact opposite. It's this love without bounds, and there's no expectation on you anymore. Even though there is, but we can talk about that in a second. But what rachamim is the idea that there is din. Din is important. Judgment is important. But you have time to fix. That's why the word rachamim means rechem, like the rechem of a woman, like a woman's womb. What happens in the womb is that you have time to sit there, and rachamim is the meaning of time. In other words, that there is judgment, not like it's not that there is no judgment. There is judgment, but you have time to
fix what you did wrong.
Not only to fix what you did wrong, but to earn your life.
Yeah, there's
in reality, if you did anything wrong against what God will, you should be gone. How could you go against? How could you rebel against the King of Kings? You should be gone, like a piece of dust, done for. Because your life is worth nothing if you went against the King of Kings. He gave you life, he gave you the opportunity, and you went against him. And what the Torah comes and says to us is that Hashem, yes, there is judgment, okay? But you have time to make mistakes. You have time to make mistakes and to earn your life. And you, not only that, you will earn your life.
And I think sometimes our tradition is that if you come, the Gemara says, if you come back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with Ahava, not only do you fix what you did wrong, but you come to a point where much closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu than you were before.
It's mitzvah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
all of your misdeeds turn into.
So it's called the Be'akum Balei Tshuva Omdim Tzadikim B'Umdim. That a place that someone who's fallen and gets up is actually higher than someone who's never fallen before, in this sense. So there's the Machlok and Gemara, but that's one of the opinions of it.
So I still don't understand why it's idolatry.
Why is it idolatry?
Yeah. Why no Tshuva is idolatry?
Okay, I have like the concept in my mind. I want to see it, figure out how to say it.
Or is it because, or do you think that if one sticks to one attribute of Hashem, and that's equivalent to idolatry?
That's what's called that's exactly what happens in Christianity and Islam, for example, is that Christianity puts one attribute of Hashem on a pedestal, chesed, ahava, love, and Islam puts another attribute of Hashem on a pedestal, the attribute of din, of strict judgment, of yirah. And so both of those, whether we're going to call that, should we call it avodah zarah? It's not really avodah zarah. It's avodah. It's avodah shezara lanu. Like, in other words, Am Yisrael cannot do that. It's forbidden for Am Yisrael to do that. There's ways for the other peoples and other nations of the world to worship Hashem in different ways. To worship Hashem in different ways to those things. There's a difference between avodat elim and avodah zarah. There's a difference between worshiping idols and worshiping Hashem, but in a foreign way. Yeah. We have to differentiate between those two things. Those are two very, very important differences. Today in our world, what we have is...
Like the golden calf is avodah zarah. It's an intermediary.
Apparently so.
It looks like people mistake it for avodah elim because it's a golden calf.
No, but they're worshiping Hashem.
Yeah,
they're worshiping Hashem.
Shot.
They're not worshiping.
Yeah, exactly. Because Aaron said Chag LaHashem machar.
Now, what happened is the I don't know how to say now. When we go through the middle path, okay, like a straight line, when we're going through Rachamim, there's Chesed, there's Din, and there's Rachamim in the middle, okay?
But is it a middle path or is it a truth that includes both?
It includes them both, but
it's not in between them.
It is middle. It is the middle.
Yeah.
It's called the Kavantzai. It's called the middle line.
But wouldn't it encompass them both?
And
of course, beyond them and not between them. It wouldn't be between them; it'd actually beyond them.
It's that which connects between.
Beyond.
It's like the middle body, right? I have my right arm and I have my left arm, and then I have the middle. Okay, my torso has my right arm and my left arm.
But it's not like a compromise between the two.
It's not a compromise between the two. That's one of the things that I heard a rabbi once talk about, and I think it was wrong. That's why I bring it up. I'm not going to say his name, but he said, no, there is no really rachamim. There's chesed and din that just keep going back and forth. Like you just keep jumping back and forth between the two of them. And
there's no truth called rachamim.
Right, there's no truth. And that's why rachamim is called emet. It's called truth. And that's the attribute of Yaakov. Abraham worshipped Hashem through Ahava. Yitzchak worshipped Hashem through Yirah. And Yaakov through emet, through like the middle path. Now the middle path, this is what I wanted to say, is that actually there's something above and beyond those three aspects that I just talked about. There's another realm above that. The pathway to that higher realm is Rachamim. Okay, Rachamim brings you up to the higher path. What is that higher path? That is, already we're talking about like the blueprint of creation. Okay, and that blueprint of creation is the place where everything evil in the world is born, but it's only exists as a seed there. It's not real. Okay? Let me say it another way. I don't know why I'm getting into this like this. The name of Hashem, right, is Yud, and then a Hey, and then above and then a Hey, right? But if you look at the letters, really, there's a Yud and a Hey, right? And then there's and then there's another Yud and a Hey, but the second Yud becomes a Vav. Now what happens there is that it says, we say, B'yom Ahu Yeh, right? One day, the name of Hashem, which is Yud, Hey, Vav, and a Hey, is going to be changed into Yud, Hey, and a Yud, Hey. In other words, what's going to happen? This world has to rise up to the level of Yud, Hey. Something happened that the Yud became a Vav. What's that something that happened that the Yud became the Vav? It's the reality of this world that allows for the existence of evil in this world. Our job is to try to raise the world up to the level where it can become now a Yud and a Hey again. Okay? That now, the elongation of the yud, okay, which is the vav, is what allows for time to exist, what allows for reality to exist as we know it.
And free choice.
And free choice. But in reality, okay, in real reality, what creates reality is that there's a place where there's perfection.
And we can say that name.
And what?
Like you have no problem saying yeah.
Right, we're allowed to say that.
But we couldn't pronounce the name as it exists now.
No, correct.
Yeah, I always understood it as, I mean, I know it's interesting, I didn't really hear it. I always understood that we have to connect the yud and the hay with the vav and the hay.
Right.
That they're separate.
Right, that's correct.
This is a kind of a
Right.
different.
Right, I'm talking about the raising up of the vav and the hay to become like you.
So first we have
But
to
the
connect them
difference
and then raise it?
The difference is between the idea of, well, the difference is what's called of perfection and perfecting. Okay? And this world is a process of perfecting. We're always getting better. We're always getting better. We're always getting better. We're always getting better. Okay? But in order for that perfecting to take place correctly, we have to know that there's perfection.
So why?
So now, I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's idolatry, but the very meaning, like on Sukkot, we're going to read the Kohelet, right? What does Kohelet talk about? Kohelet talks about the fact that there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. The sun rises, the sun goes down. The moon comes up, the moon goes down. This king comes, another king comes.
But there are new things above the sun.
Exactly. That's what the Maharal says. It says, Ein chadash tachat hashemesh. There's nothing new under the sun, but there is something new above the sun. In other words, nature really is a closed circuit. It really is circular. When we look at science, when we look at nature, we look at medicine, when we look at the academic world, it's deterministic. There's just a bunch of laws, physics and sociology and blah, blah, blah.
And
All
that's ancient Egypt.
And the problem is if we're stuck there, we're not being Adam. We're not being man. Because man's role is the combination of all the worlds. What it actually is, and this is actually what you're saying about Egypt, is in the story of creation, what does it say? Adam v'Chava, right? They were in the garden, and who came along?
Snake.
The snake. Who's the snake? What do we know about the snake? The snake walks on two legs. It talks. It talks to Hashem.
Who's the most...
According to the Midrash, it has sexual relations with Chava, right? What is the snake? The animal that's the cleverest of all the animals. What's the animal that's cleverest of all the animals? Human being. And that's why there's another Midrash that talks about that. The Adam Rishon actually had scales. Because what's hidden there in the story is that the snake, Nachash, hu Adam. The snake is man. And that's why Nachash is Gematria Mashiach. Nachash is Adam. What kind of man is he? And who is it that's saying? It says, why eat of the fruit? Right? And what does it say there? Oh, this is, where is it? Sefer Torah? No. Chumash, it says, like unless he be like one of us to know the difference between good and evil, right? It says, I'm not going to let him do anymore because he'll be like one of us to know the difference between good and evil, right? But what is it? If you read it correctly, according to the way that the Ta'amim go, one of the ways to read it is, it doesn't say he'll be like one of us, like Hashem, a God, to know good and evil. He will be like one of us in a way that from him is the source of good and evil. The minute that the source of good and evil becomes man, the minute that's the snake.
When we become the source of our own morality.
When we become the source of our own morality. In other words, we have a challenge in this world to either be a snake or to be a man. A snake is trapped inside of nature. He's circular. That's what the snake is. That's why he's circular like nature. And that's why the symbol of ancient Egypt was the snake. And that's why we put on tefillin. We put on the tefillin. The tefillin is actually the symbol of Egypt. That's what the Pharaoh has on his head, right? Except instead of a box, what do they have? A circular snake. What we're doing is we're saying, we're taking this and we're making it square.
Snake?
It's a circle.
Like
See,
nature
nature, so you've seen a picture
Yeah,
of Pharaoh.
snakes are circular. That's what
Like a
what
cobra.
snake is. All right, it goes like this. It's like wavy, okay? Wavy.
What if they like wrap around?
Sometimes they wrap around, but they're wavy, whatever they are. But a snake is the only animal that's really like that. That can become a circle.
Eel.
And the square symbolizes.
Huh?
The square symbolizes what?
The square symbolizes that the world is made up of what's called straight lines and circles. Okay? Circle and a circle, if I take any point on here, no circle is above any other point. No point on the circle is above any other point. It's all relative. There's no up, down, there's no left and right, but you make a straight line, and what do you have all of a sudden? You have top, you have bottom. You have left, and you have right.
You've created boundaries, but you've also created hierarchies.
Okay? And now the secret of this world is that this world nature? Is our reality nature, circular? Which is what many people believe. That's what the modern Western world really believes. That's what I think that many of these idolatrous
So it's the
and that civilizations believed as well. Like Mu has no beginning and no end. It's just circular, it just is, right? It's just.
You take the number 6.
Why number 6? Okay, number 6. Yeah. Great.
And that's the weak.
That's what the sukkah has 6 sides. Everything has 6 sides in nature. And the 7th point is the point that's inside of it.
But the sukkah can also be.
And the 8th point, the 7th point, is the point that's inside of it. Right?
That gives it purpose.
That gives it
meaning.
That's what's called nefesh. Nefesh, Shabbat, ve'nafash. Right? That's the inner point of resting. It's inside of it. But there's actually something beyond that.
The Brit Milah?
And that's Shmona. Brit Milah, which is you're taking a straight line and you're cutting a circle in a straight line. But really that there's something above the sukkah, and that's why we have like the hole in the sukkah, we know that there's something that's hidden above the sukkah. That's why the Chag Sukkot is Shmona Yamim, 8 days as well. Something that transcends nature, that's where the word Shmona means shamen, like something that's 7 is sheva, which is savea, right? It's like full. All right, I ate my whole meal, I'm good. Shaman, shmona is shaman, like I've eaten too much now, I have like extra, or like oil that's on top of it. Now number 8 is tshuva. The number 8 is tshuva. And the number 8 is the one that's right above rachamim. Okay? So now this world has a trick. The world's trick is when Adam and Chava are sent out of the Garden of Eden, what happens there? There's this crazy story that sounds like where there's an angel, right, that's standing guarding the way back to the Garden of Eden. Right? What does he have there?
That's the sword.
That what?
The sword.
That is what? Acherev ha? That's flipping around, right? Okay. What happens when you give a straight line and you start spinning around really fast? What does it become? A circle. That's the secret. In other words, that this world looks circular. This world looks like nature. If we succumb to the nachash, which is the sechel TV, the natural intellect that is very well developed in the Western world, that's the nachash. There's nothing beyond it. I'm just researching nature. But really what we know is that circle hides inside of it a straight line. And that straight line is something absolute. It's not something good and evil that was decided by man because I decided like that. I like these values, or I like these values, or I like these values. There's absolute value that is hidden inside of nature. And that's Torah, and that's the number 8, and that's the line that comes down. That's what's called neshama. Neshama, otiot, shmone. Right? It's the same letters as the neshama is the number 8. Okay? So so that's the answer to the question about do we have to correct what our job is to correct to connect these different human groups to the source. They have some correct intuitions. Like I think that the tribe, that you talk poorly of the rituals of your tribe, but I think that I'm very, very interested. I think there are probably very, very many good things that without those rituals you wouldn't be who you are today, and you wouldn't have the powers that you have today, and you wouldn't be the human being that you are today without them. And I have no doubt that there are some distortions there, and the job of the people of Israel in reality is, and that's what the Foreign Office should be doing, is going around and saying, okay, well, that's a good idea, but why don't we add this other idea into it as well? Now, what the Christians did I don't know, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but what I think is what the Christians did is they made everyone Christian. And they just said, okay, no, this is the way you have to be. And I'm actually interested to hear when did Christianity come to your tribe?
It was around 50 years before we got independence. That's early 1900s.
The 1900s.
Yeah, basically the missionaries came around 1890. So the building of the Arabian land, and then early 1900s. That's when the missionaries started coming through.
So you grew up though as a Christian.
I grew up as a Christian.
Like you went to church?
I went to the local school, local church, local school. The school was Catholic.
Catholic.
Yeah.
And the priest, was he from your tribe or was he?
The priest then we had the main priest was from one of these countries. I don't know whether it was Italy or whatever.
He was a white guy.
Yeah. And then, but the rest, they call them what, brothers and fathers. Those are the other smaller priests were from the tribe. I mean, they had been through the whole seminary period
Right.
and all that. So.
But they were just less than the white guy.
Yeah.